Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Bufnagle the podcast, where we explore entertaining and enlightening discussions of the adventure of life and all things good. From science and technology to history and philosophy to leadership and success. We hope to give you a better understanding of the world and skills for everyone to pursue their own adventure.
So what I'll do
Take
is,
two.
well, I have a topic in mind, and I'm just going to announce the topic, and then you have to respond to it, and we have to riff for the duration of the episode.
So it'll be like any normal Bufnagle episode.
From your point of view.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. All right. So to our listeners, welcome back to Bufnagle, the podcast where we talk about all things good in the pursuit of the adventure of life and all of the things that Rafe throws at me on a regular basis.
Yeah, so you can just put yourself in Harry's shoes and think about what it was being a young boy, a whippersnapper.
Strapping young lad.
Yes, and trying to, hey Harry, did you ever think about this? And then he would have to think about it. Okay, so Harry, before we start, I'm going to, you know what? We have great listeners because they've made us a global top 10% podcast. And as usual, they can reach us at buffnagle.com. Remember, if you are listening, you should share the love and share the buff. Send this episode to friends of yours and tell them, bribe them or do something nice for them.
Instead of giving us cookies, give your friends cookies to listen to.
Yeah, and see what happens with that. And let's see where that takes us. You know, what do they say? Go outside your comfort zone.
Something like that.
Something like that. Okay. Share the love, share the buff. Give us a 5-star review. Subscribe, like, smiley stars, all that stuff. You know the shtick. And remember, tell a friend to listen, and you will get a free episode. And the episode might be like this episode, where I just say, Harry, coming up is a thing that, coming up is when this episode drops. Coming up will be Independence Day.
Yep.
And here in the U.S., we celebrate Independence Day on July 4th, regardless of what day of the week it falls on. All right, it doesn't always get slid to Monday, right?
Yeah, to some people, having a 4th of July celebration on a Sunday is unfortunate because it means they're all back at work on the 5th.
Well, but some companies, spending companies, would typically give you that Monday off. But the best ones are like when Independence Day falls like on a Tuesday or a Thursday.
Yep.
Because then it's probably the best one is it falls on a Thursday, and you can take off Thursday, and then you just take a vacation day on Friday, and then you have a 4-day weekend, and everybody loves 4-day weekends. So, okay, so here's the thing. It's Independence Day, but typically we call it July 4th. But everybody has July 4th, but only we have Independence Day on July 4th. So
did you look that up before you started the episode?
Well, I know that everybody has July. Well, I mean, we celebrate our Independence Day. I mean, like Cinco de Mayo is kind of like a Mexican thing that has, it's Bastille Day happens in July. That's is that the 14th, 16th, something like that? Are you looking it up right now? What is Bastille Day?
Sorry, I'm muted because I'm typing. I'm not looking at Bastille Day. I'm looking up countries celebrating independence on July 4th.
Okay.
Right? You are incorrect.
All right. Steer me in the right direction.
Outside of the United States, Denmark is the only country to hold official 4th of July celebrations every single year. Since 1911, people across Denmark come together in Rebuild National Park in Jutland. I'm sure I'm saying that incorrectly, where they listen to speeches, sing patriotic songs, and hold picnics. However, that might be a celebration of the United States Independence Day in Denmark.
Whoa. Okay, so this is the thing. So Denmark celebrates the U.S. Independence Day?
It seems like it.
Wow. Okay. Way to go, the Danes. Way to go, Vikings.
That's right.
Okay, so there's Independence Day. So what? Okay, so I got to ask you this. So you got Independence Day coming up.
Yep.
You and your little family, no longer being in in the Army does, I assume, lots of Independence Day kinds of things. You guys get like real fireworks
Yes.
and such. So so what was Independence Day like in the Army? And then and what are you planning to do this year?
Independence Day in the Army was probably more of at least from what I saw, a lot of men in their early 20s celebrating with as many explosives and alcohol combined as they could achieve.
And that's a problem because...
Well, because it's usually done while boating. Right. Yes. All of those things independently are okay. Combine all three of them and you may have a problem.
Yeah, it's certainly when you throw alcohol in the mix and boats. And okay. All right. I got you.
So, I mean, I never really did anything profound for the 4th of July. And this year, I don't think we have anything profound as well. Jamie has mentioned a couple of things, as in just, maybe we'll see fireworks or start telling Scotty, hey, this is why the 4th of July is important. But other than that, we don't really have any kind of nothing special planned. But you'll be in a different country.
I will be in a different country, and I will be in France. I will be in Alsace, which is just on the far east edge of France, almost in Germany. In fact,
you can give the French like a thank you cake.
Yes, because they helped us out, right? They sent guys over, and they sent guys like Lafayette over, and they helped fund things with us, and then 100 years later, they gave us a big statue, with freedom, and so we've been getting along. We always tease the French, right? I mean, there's always this teasing about the French, but I think that's probably undeserved teasing. They've come to our aid numerous times, and we've reconciled things with the Brits as well, so that's all good. So I think we'll. I'm trying to figure out, should I just wear red, white, and blue that day and see if anybody says anything, or
you got to get one of those like really obnoxious patriotic T-shirts, like
maybe just
like the one of Reagan riding a Velociraptor with an AK-47 or something like that. I guess it wouldn't be an AK, right? It'd be like a M240 or something. Eagles flying in the background.
Wait, did you ever see that ad? It was a Dodge ad, I think it was, and it had it was like a Revolutionary War battle. And you hear, I think you heard the, the bugler, like that, whatever. And the horses come over the ridge and the men are charging and they're steering. And next thing you know, you hear this roar of this Dodge muscle car come flying airborne over this hillside. And behind the wheel is George Washington.
That's right. I think I have seen that.
And he kind of looks at the camera like, yeah, what else would I drive? So there's kind of, and I'm trying to think about that. And I will learn because things are different now than they were 25 years ago, 50 years ago with regard to international relations and things, what did I say? They get hotter and colder. Relationships, they go through swings. They wax and wane.
Ebb and flow. Yeah.
They ebb and flow. They wax and wane. And I will be interested to see exactly what happens on the 4th of July in our little class there in Alsace, which is in France now, although every now and then it changes sides and goes to Germany and go back and forth.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say they will not say anything.
I'm going to go on a different limb, and I'm going to say I think they will say something. I think in general, because when I've been abroad, I've met some people that are like most people I meet, almost everybody. I would say probably 85 to 95% of the people I meet are really, really hospitable in the sense that they're polite and they want to make you feel welcome and they're interested in you. And I've very rarely met somebody who has been, just a jerk about certain things. I do remember one time in France, I met somebody who was a real jerk, but most of the time the French were very good to me. And everywhere else I've been, the Italians were great last summer, and I just had I've had such a great time, and I'm so much looking forward to discussing differences, like how they, you always see things from your perspective, right? You always think, right? You're always the center. It's really hard to not make yourself the center when you are actually inside your own person. And from a national point of view, it's an easy thing to do that too, to be in the center. But, England has elections, and France has elections, and Germany has elections, and they have their histories and stuff like that. And there will be July 4th, America's independence, and then I think 12 days later we'll have Bastille Days in France, and I think we should celebrate that too. Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to doing that. I don't know if I don't think we'll have Frankfurters, but we'll have something fun.
I mean, you're probably not going to be doing German brats and sauerkraut.
No, well, I could go across the river. I could go across the Rhine, I think it is, and I will be in Germany, and I could do things over there. And actually, when I was in France one time, one of the great meals I had was Frankfurters and sauerkraut.
And probably wasn't fish and chips, right?
Well, I didn't have the fish and chips there. I'll keep.
What's Zach's quote about the English food?
Well, he says all the really good English food is Indian food.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he says. So, and that may or may not be true. My favorite British food is shepherd's pie, which is probably Irish. So it's but everybody has something to offer, which is really a wonderful thing when you get this smorgasbord of nationalities together. And I think how boring it would be if we were all the same. I mean, that would be a bad thing. And I'm looking forward to having the experience over there and getting to experience all these.
And your thing too is it's not just France or not just Belgium. Do we spend time in Belgium, right?
Yes, I would. Yep.
People from across the globe, right? Or more or less across Europe, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we had there's now a little, you know what WhatsApp is?
Yeah, I'm not 58.
Well, I knew what it was. I didn't have, and I'm not 58 either. I knew what it was. I just didn't have an account or have a sign up or whatever you have to do for that. I signed up for that. Did I have a password, do you think?
Oh, I have no idea. I deleted it a while ago.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, there's a WhatsApp thing and there's a message board and people post little things, and they had the list of everybody who's going to the class. And I went through there and I looked at the country codes on the phone numbers because it does everything from the phone number. And there's people from France and from Belgium and from Finland and from the UK and from Spain and from Portugal and I think Luxembourg and then Australia and the US. There's 2 people from Indiana. Well, no, let me rephrase that. There is me who's from Indiana, but my phone number is Nashville based, and there's another number that is Indiana, but I don't know.
It could be living in or
it could be or Turkey. I don't. Who knows, right? So,
well, you never told me the age distribution.
Well, see, I don't know the age. I don't know the age distribution yet, but I do know that. People were saying when are you going to arrive at the course? I'm going to take the train on Saturday. And somebody said, well, I'm taking the train on Sunday. And we're like, when do you leave? When do you arrive? And people are trying to coordinate all this stuff. I don't know, when you go to college, right? And one person said that she was arriving on the train at a certain time. And she said her parents are coming with her because they'll take anybody from 16 to however old I am and older. And she said her parents are coming. They were going to do some. Yeah, they were going to do vacations, while she was there. And she said that she was 16. So there's going to be a 16-year-old all the way up to me, more than 16. And we will see what happens. But there's a broad age distribution. There's a broad geographic distribution. And I got to believe there's going to be lots of interesting discussions. And hopefully, I think we should all be able to get along. I can't imagine that it could go poorly.
Well, the fact that there is no initial divisiveness, right? There's not somebody saying hey, the old people in this group don't understand what's going on. And there's not another side that says all of the young people only talk with me because the old people don't get it, or the young people don't get it, or the Americans don't understand, or there's no initial divisiveness that is being played out by someone.
Yeah, and
it's all you are more or less unified under a common characteristic or goal.
Right, and that's the key, right? Is that there's a common goal, and then we benefit from perspectives on how to reach that.
Yes,
which will come from different, and there, we have to bring photographs of certain architecture design kinds of things in our country or region.
I was going to say hometown. Do you have like cornfields?
Well, that's the question, and I did have a side conversation with one of the guys who's running who's running the thing, and I was like, you're talking about what kind of classic architecture stuff we have, and I'm like, we've only been here for a while, right?
The really old Florence.
Well, yeah, right. So they have buildings that were 400 years old when this whole city that I'm sitting in right now was woods and prairie, and so so we had conversations about that. But I had to take pictures of some of our classic looking buildings like State Capitol, and the Indiana has a ton of beautiful courthouses that are built in classical revival styles. And we have one here in Hamilton County. Boone County has a beautiful one. And if you just look up Indiana courthouses, and you'll see some wonderful examples. But then I had to what are the other styles we see? So it was like, well, I don't know. We got big in Indiana
homes.
is what?
Cookie cutter homes.
Well, but before we have a couple other things. We have things like Victorian, like early 1900s, a lot of Victorian homes in the small towns that are older, and probably it's the big towns that are older too, but they've fallen into disarray because there's.
Or you have things like very classical cities like Charleston and Savannah,
right,
where they have their own architecture style.
Right, but we don't really have that here in Indiana. But we have a lot of Victorian stuff in the early residential areas of some of these small towns, and then we have, I'm going to call it like bungalow craftsman style kinds of things that have popped up starting in like the 30s and 40s, and then into the 50s you started seeing ranches. The ranch home is considered an Indiana delicacy. It is.
Well, all right.
Yes. Well, and then we have a lot of limestone.
Well, as long as it's better than the late 1940s, 50s, 60s of Soviet concretism, anything's better than that.
Well, the term you're looking for is called brutalism, and I don't. I've heard people say that it was designed to crush your spirit. And it came out of the Soviet Union, and so you see that. Yeah. You see that.
I've seen it. I've when I was in Skopje in Macedonia, it is all there. The brutalism structures are still there, and it is just
disheartening.
It destroys your soul. When right across the street, there's a beautiful classical architecture. Gates and windows and arches and stonework and all of these other things that bring uniqueness and style and a story and personality to buildings.
Yeah, and that's part of what the class is, right? I mean, that's what the summer school is. How do we learn about all of these things, what they mean, where they came from, where are good examples of them, and they all fit in this paradigm, but there's such diversity of implementation of those ideas. Just like we always talk about, there's such variety in the saints, and there's such dead uniformity in the tyrants, right?
Yeah, I'm. You're gonna be very surprised about where I'm going to take this, but I will bring it back exactly to where you just started. I listen to trading card game podcasts every once in a while, and one of them was talking about, somebody asked the host a question basically saying, why can't we have a format where every single hero or every single card is uniform across the board? Why do we have to be divided up into different classes? Right? I mean, like different types of characters. Like why can't the warrior cards, the guardian cards, the wizard cards, why can't they all be the same?
So you just have a wizard card. You have like 10 wizard cards.
The character is a wizard, right? And then you pick these subsequent cards. And his response was basically what you just said, which was, if the format was just pick the best generic card, then what's the point of the classes? There is no variety. You can't develop creativity, right? You cannot develop creativity when the only thing you're doing is just picking the generic best thing. Because then it just becomes, well, I'll pick the best thing, and then you pick the second best thing, and then I pick the third best thing, and then you pick the fourth best thing. There is no creativity in that. But as soon as you put boundaries on what you are allowed to choose because of rules and constrictions and formats, well, suddenly now I have to think, my best thing is not your best thing.
Right.
Or maybe I'm trying to do something with Zach or with Jamie. And now I suddenly have to be creative in my ideas.
Yeah. So you see this.
We see this all over the place, is that you cannot, what does Olivier say is that creativity without boundaries is just noise.
That's
exactly. And it goes
right.
from architecture to philosophy to sports, all the way into nerdy card games.
Yeah, that's interesting that you pulled that out of there. When we talked about standards, I keep coming back to this thought when we talked about, like, it started with iron pipe. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Black pipe, and in Lego is the gold standard of standards, right? That's everybody talks about. In fact, you said you had conversations at work where somebody said, well, we need a Lego based system like this, right? The idea being that things are nearly infinitely combinable based upon a very small number of rules that put you in the game.
And then you just stack pieces and modules on top.
Right. And then you can make pieces out of pieces. And one of the classic things to do as you're building Lego pieces is to build gigantic Lego pieces from the smaller Lego pieces and then fit them together. Right. So, but a good standard does that. And whether it's an architectural standard or whether it's a card game standard, it provides you that flexibility, and then it provides remarkable growth. I mean, you start with four. What are they called? Base pairs? Are they base pairs in DNA? Right?
Oh, yes.
You got a spiral, right? And you got G, T, A, and C. And you got uracil and RNA, whatever. But you start with those four, and you put it. And now look at the variety you get. You get what there are 29 or 30 amino acids, something like that. And those codons code for the amino acids, and the amino acids build all the proteins. That's how you build systems, and hopefully that provides a lot of variety and it makes things exciting. So back to Independence Day. Yeah.
So in typical Bufnagle fashion, we started with Independence Day and now have ended up with DNA.
Yeah. So are you doing anything?
We have no plans.
No plans. Are you going to get out the grill and?
I wish I could say I had a grill.
Oh, you guys moved and left. We
moved and left the grill. It was we didn't have. I mean, I did have the propane tank interchange, but it was hooked up to the gas line to the house.
Wow.
So I didn't feel like messing with that. It was also rather large and bulky.
Yeah.
It was low on the priority list as far as fitting things into the moving truck.
And at some point you just
say, it's a good bargaining chip for when you're selling the house.
Yeah. Hey, we'll leave you the grill, and it's a gas grill hooked up to. You don't have to
do anything other than you just take the standard piping and turn it off and on.
Yeah. So so you have not been grilling since you moved in?
No, I have not.
Do you have a stub out the back?
No.
I think we're going to have to find your water heater, and we're going to have to run a gas line out to your backyard.
Oh, I know. The water heater's in the garage.
Where's your closest gas line? Are we going to have to go out? Or are we going to have to go outside and then all the way around the house to the back?
Yeah. See, it's just not fun. And remember, there's no crawl space.
There's no crawl space. Okay. All right. We'll have to. Okay. Challenge.
Challenge accepted.
All right. So we'll have to
Build
do
a
it.
gas line.
Yes. All right. Well, that's good. Are you going to let Scotty stay up for the fireworks, or?
We'll see. Since moving further west, as you know, especially 2 days ago, with it being the solstice, the sunlight hits a little bit differently than it does right smack dab in the middle of Eastern time.
So you're pretty. See, you're far.
We're pretty far west.
Yeah, but not as far west as we are. Like our sun goes down. Like I went out the other night to adoration at 10 o'clock, and it was 9:45 when I was leaving, and the sun was not up, but it was still
an orange glow,
sunsetty in the west, and
that's generally how it is for us around 9:15, 9:30. It's, I mean, it is still bright enough to be outside, and it's 8:50 p.m.
8:50. Yeah, well, all right. So we'll see what. So when do they start it? They start at 9 or 10. Where you are?
I have no idea.
Holy cow! You got to do some research.
I guess Fayetteville was pretty easy when it's a bunch of military guys like, oh, we're just going to fire this off from July 2nd to July 10th.
Yeah, just keep firing them, man. And you just stand around in the neighborhood and somebody will launch one around on the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so you got a little of that going on. Well, stay safe, all right? I had there were kids that I knew growing up that were playing with too many fireworks and lost fingers and stuff. It's just be careful. Bottle rockets can go in eyes and things like that. So sparklers are, to me, the sparklers are the scary ones. It was like I have a 600-degree sparkling metal stick, and I have kids running around in the dark, screaming, trying to
skewer each other
with this thing. And it's like, yes, stay with the sparklers.
Well, at least it'll cauterize the wound pretty quick, huh?
Yeah, well, I guess it would. I think I wonder if that keeps burning when you put it.
It's probably just a safety feature.
Does that? Okay, so do you know what's in a sparkler? Do you know
no idea.
Okay.
Sulfur, sodium, potassium.
It burns really hot, right? Does it?
I don't know if it burns hot.
Oh God, it's really hot.
Warm. I don't think it's really hot.
It's like 600. Okay, look it up.
How hot is a
sparkler?
Sparkler firework.
I'm going to add I'm going to add the thinking noise.
All right, so we did some thinking. Listeners, choice A,
okay,
400 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
Choice B, 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Choice C, 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit. Or choice D, 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
I'm going with 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit.
It is 2,000.
No way. A sparkler burns at 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit?
Yes.
Well, bring on Independence. What can you? No, it won't burn under. Like, I mean, I'm just
thinking melt some metals. That's for reference. Cite my sources. That's the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. I'm sure they get they get plenty of results.
2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so what? Okay, if I just take that and I put, it's not going to burn underwater. It's not one of these weird things that can still keep burning underwater, right? I mean,
I don't think so.
Okay. Wow. Have you ever heard of that? There was this thing in the Middle Ages they came out with that when you put water on it, it burns more. Do you remember that? It was a weapon that is some kind of early. I'm going to
concrete.
Well, it could have. Maybe it's a thing like that. Maybe it's a big exothermic reaction. You just add water and it really. Well, that's the same thing that you put in hand warmers and foot warmers, right? It's just concrete and water. So, all right. So I guess the lesson. Okay, so let me see if I can sum up the lessons from Independence Day. All right.
Yes, please do. Because I don't know how much Independence Day speaking we did.
Oh, well, we kind of. But you know what? That's the beauty of independence, because you're free to take it wherever you want.
That's right.
Yep. Okay. So, there was like what I guess they say things like what we learned today. So we learned Denmark seems to celebrate at some capacity the U.S. independence.
Yes. Additionally, the Philippines, achieved their independence from the Spanish, during the Philippine Revolution, and then achieved self-rule from the United States on the 4th of July, 1946, celebrated July 4th as Independence Day until 1964, and then subsequently changed it to June 12th.
Any reason for June 12th, or just because it's...
That is their Independence Day is probably the day they achieved independence from the Spaniards, and they now have July 4th as Republic Day.
All right. Okay. All right. So July 4th there, Denmark is kind of on our side. Philippines has some independence that doesn't quite line up, but it's in the ballpark. And so that was one thing. We think that having a lot of people together with a united purpose can get there despite any diverse opinions, and probably benefited by different opinions to help us get different solutions.
Yep.
We know spark. You're not going to be grilling.
No.
And you're probably not going to have 2,000 degree sparklers in the hand of a 3-year-old.
Or a 1.5-year-old. No, that is not the plan.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's Happy Independence Day, everybody. I will be celebrating in France, in Alsace, which will probably still be in France, although it might be in Germany by that time. And then hopefully everything will work well for you, and you will enjoy the benefits of freedom.
Yeah, that's right. And then enjoy the benefits of freedom. Have a beer or don't. That's your choice. Or a dog or a burger or whatever else you want to have. But most importantly, remember to seek the good, live virtuously, and flourish. And enjoy the adventure of life. It's going to be a great day.